Everybody, welcome to Daily Connection for October 25th, 2018. It's so great to be here again with you, sharing some time. Thank you for joining me if you're live here on YouTube. And if you are joining on another social media platform, thank you so much. Make sure that you comment. The best thing you can do if you enjoy today's episode is to come over to my YouTube channel and become a follower, because this is where a bulk of the most awesome content comes in helping you in your life and professional journey. So, if you're new to this broadcast, my name is Emily Olson. I equip overwhelmed, overcommitted midlifers to create intentional and sustainable plans of growth and impact through margin, through boundaries, and through rest. That's what I do, and I am so grateful to be here in front of you today talking about some things that have to do with that. So, I hope you guys are great. So I wanted to talk a little bit about understanding your gifts and your vocation, because that's one of the things that I talk a lot about, I speak on, I work with my clients on, I do content about, because it's super important to understand how you're gifted so that you step into the right opportunities, whether they are actually paid opportunities like a job that brings home your income, or if it's something volunteer that you enjoy doing because it brings you joy. And sometimes it's both, which is amazing. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how important that is and how to go about that. If you're feeling stuck today, you don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to stay stuck in the I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. There are lots of ways into that question. And so I wanted to offer a couple of solutions today. And some of these might be familiar to you and some of them not. So one is looking at the different kinds of assessments that you can take. You can take a whole bunch of different kinds of assessments. You can take the most popular one, a lot of people know, are the Myers-Briggs. So that's something that has to do with, it's 4 different letters. It talks about whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, whether you're intuitive or sensing, whether you are thinking or feeling, and whether you're judging or perceiving. And there's a lot more to just those words. So sometimes I like the Myers-Briggs as a very surface look at things, but then sometimes it kind of breaks down and you need to go a little bit deeper. And so when I like to use those kinds of tools with my clients, or just with myself, I like to do them on occasion just to review or to see if anything's changed. I'd like to go a little bit deeper. And some of the ones that I like to use for that are the Enneagram, which again, that's a really great deep tool. That's the Enneagram. Gretchen Rubin's 4 Tendencies. Her book is really amazing, and she has, if you go to her website, you can do the 4 Tendencies, 4 different kinds of personalities, and how, both the strengths and the challenges of those, and how you interact with people, and how you see success, and that kind of thing. It's very important. And then the one I really love the most is the Strengths Finder, the Gallup Strengths Finder. Marcus Buckingham wrote a couple of books on that over the last 15 years or so, talking about that particular assessment and how it really breaks down more specifically, not just your gifts, but how you're wired. For instance, my 5 gifts are arranger, connectedness, belief, positivity, and woo, which stands for winning others over. And so for me, it's a great snapshot of a large part of who I am, because the arranger talks about how I see problems, how I see my work with people in helping them gain solutions. The connectedness piece is huge, because for me, especially as a person of faith, I see that all things are connected. When I work with my clients, or when I'm working on a problem, you can't just isolate your relationships. For instance, you can't isolate your relationships from your personal wellness and your work, because it affects all of those things. So things are connected. My belief, yes, it does talk, I believe that leans into my faith belief, but I also, I feel like one of the gifts that I have is being able to believe in others before they can believe in themselves. And so that belief, that's what that translates towards. And then positivity, I generally am a very positive, uplifting person. Being able to look ahead and be able to see a more positive outcome. I tend not to say that I'm an optimist, because that's more functional than kind of the positivity and being able to help others move about even their challenges and their problems with a much more positive sense of being. And then the last one is woo, which stands for winning others over. And that for me means practically, as an example, I can go to a party where I know no one and have a great time and strike up conversations with people I've never met before and make new friends and really have a good time and be energized by that. And a lot of people, that totally freaks them out. So that's part of who I am, and it's been a great tool over the last year or so. Whenever I put on any sort of resume for kind of a regular job or a different opportunity or something like that, I've put that on there because I think it's valuable for people to know, and it helps people understand, why I'm wired the way I'm wired. And so, but I also want to talk about on the other flip side of that, these are great tools, but we also don't ever want to put ourselves in a box. We are so much more than any of these assessments can ever measure. And so, on the one hand, I encourage you to check some of these out. If you're struggling right now with direction, with vocation, first of all, let me know. I'd love to have a conversation with you. But secondly, you could also go out and do any one of these things and really utilize a tool so that you can bring some direction. But then also to remember that you're not everything that's on that list. I'm not those 5 things from the Strengths Finder. They help describe who I am. I'm not my Myers-Briggs type, and neither are you. So make sure that as you do that, sometimes people tend to get rigid, like they're only this way because an assessment says that they're that way, and I can't try something new because that's outside of who the Strengths Finder says that I am. And that's not true. It just means that this is the way that you are able to function out in your strengths, and that you continue to be more well-rounded and grow as a person if you step outside of those to either figure out that, hey, I'm good at this too, or maybe, yeah, that's not my jam. So I encourage you to do that. Actually, my last one, and I wrote it down just as I was thinking about it a minute ago. One of my other favorite tools is one that I've learned from Darren Hardy and from other places and from using it with my clients is the hell yeah and the hell no list. Like to sit down and what are the things that you can say hell yeah to, and what are the things that you're like no, and that can also be a help in determining kind of which direction to go. So I hope that this was helpful today, depending on where you're at. Again, as always, please be in touch with me. Yes, definitely follow me on social media platforms and on YouTube. However, please message me if there's a way I can be praying for you, if there's a question that you have, or if you're interested in doing some coaching or doing a one-on-one strategy session. I'd be glad to connect with you about those. So thanks so much, you guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow for our next Daily Connection.